there guys, it's Joey, and we have 3 new spell orbs for the store today, and they are all under the Sorceresses of Avalon theme, which we had previously on the store. So previously on the store we had the votives and we've had the beeswax candles, and I really wanted to do spell orbs, and I've been waiting for a minute just to devote the energy and the time to getting these exactly how I wanted them. I may well bring back the votives. I did like them a lot, and I liked working with the energies of the Sorceresses of Avalon. So the first spell orb in front of you is the Morgana Le Fay Sorceress of Avalon spell orb. I find the Sorceress of Avalon energy to be intriguing. I think it takes us to a place where we look at these archetypes, these powerful sorceresses, these powerful priestesses, and it takes us into Avalonian myth. And there is 2 versions of Avalonian myth, in particular with regards to Morgana Le Fay, and the 2 stories of which we know about Arthur and Arthur's relationship to Morgana Le Fay. The most well-known one is where she is, inverted commas, evil and causes his downfall and plots against him and is considered a villain. In the other version she's a healer. But I think it really invites us to take a look at where the myth is coming from, take a look at the agenda of the mythos, and really delve deeper into the archetype of the female priestess, the female sorceress. A female in charge of her power and of her magical ability. At no point in the myths is Merlin demonized in the same way, so it's worth really investing and looking at how we embrace our inner sorcerer or inner sorceress and the magic and the myth of Avalon. I love Avalon. I've always loved Avalon as a spiritual ideal, as a place of meditation, somewhere to go when one is seeking an astral place that is other and magical and mysterious and full of mystery and full of healing. And that's why I originally started the Sorceresses of Avalon set. And so Morgana Le Fay is the most well known, perhaps. I think that's fair to say, perhaps, is the most well known. She is the mistress of magic. She conjures up the deep mysteries, spiritual guidance, psychic abilities, and power. It is argued by some that the ladies of Avalon, the priestesses of Avalon, the Morgans of Avalon, are actually all aspects of the goddess Morrigan. This is considered by some to be written off because it's similarities in myth that are possibly, they started as Morrigan myths and they sort of became demonized and lessened into sorceresses. But there is no hard written proof, although arguably all the written evidence is not written by the Celts themselves. So is she a face of the Morrigan? Is she a face of the goddess? Are they all faces of a goddess? Are they just sorceresses channeling the power of the goddess? I just think in a lot of these circumstances, and particularly when it comes to sorceresses, it really depends on what the archetype means to you. And if connecting to Morgana Le Fay helps you with an air of mystery, an air of magic, of developing your psychic abilities, then she can be the sorceress to take your hand and lead you down the magical path, to help you unlock the mysteries within yourself. And if you do so desire to see her as an aspect of the goddess Morrigan and to honor her in that sorceress magical aspect, then this might well be the spell orb for you. So we have the beautiful deep purple, indicative of the deep mysteries, of the spiritual. Purple is a spiritual colour. It's also a regal colour, and in the myth, Morgana Le Fay was royalty. So there's that personal sovereignty aspect that we've been talking a little bit about on the channel recently, and I can just see Morgana Le Fay wearing this shade of purple. I can just see her as a priestess in the height of her power. I can see her as a very regal royal priestess, just guiding people through Avalon, just opening her arms in this purple chiffon and just exuding magic, exuding mystery, exuding personal power. I have gone for the beautiful charm here, the crescent moon, and I sought these out because these aren't flat at all. They are a little bit more of a 3D effect, as you can see here, and I really, really love them. They make me think of like a necklace that priestesses might wear, or even like a circlet on the head that the sorceresses of Avalon might wear to distinguish themselves. I really, really like it. And then hopefully you can see inside the reflection is quite good today. I've turned the lights off, I've turned lights on, I've like moved lights around, well, and you can see my hands there. Woo! The spell orb has got hands. Right, enough. Right, okay. And I've done everything I can think to, and the glare is just crazy. It's just the time of year. But hopefully you can see we have the little spell scroll in here. We have the deep hues. We have herbs revolving all around that story of Morgana Le Fay, as if she had opened her hands herself and she had perhaps placed all of these into your hands. She placed all this bouquet of magic into your hands and asked you, what does it mean? And challenging you to figure it out. So that's the Morgana Le Fay spell orb. I'm going to put all three up separately, but they will all go up together. So should anybody wish for the set, you can absolutely do that. If you miss out on the set and wish to purchase a set, then I can absolutely do that for you. Or if you miss the one that you want, just poke me, it's fine. Not too hard, and we'll sort it out for you. Right, so the second one is Morgause. And Morgause is always a character that fascinates me because she's very much in charge of her sensuality, her sexuality, and boy, does she get demonized for it in the myth. Can we see inside there? I can't really see inside there. Come on. Thank you. There we go. Right. And in the mythos, boy, does she get demonized for her sensuality, her sexuality. She's in charge of herself. She's in control of herself. And she wants to be royal. She wants to be queen. She wants to marry well. And this is kind of something that's expected of women, and then she gets demonized for it. And in a lot of the myths pertaining to Morgause, she's said to have lovers, like younger male lovers, and she gets demonized for this like crazy, whereas her husband Lot is doing the exact same thing with women, and it's fine. So that goes to tell you about some of the Arthurian myths. You have to take it with a pinch of salt. But Morgause is at the height of her sexual power, her femininity. And the energies within here do speak for wiles and seduction and guile of a fashion, because she was smart about it. She was sexual and seductive. And these are things that even to this day get demonized. That like a woman who's a seductress is a negative thing. Like, we're not allowed to healthily engage in our sexuality. And engaging with the Sorceress of Avalon Morgause can help us realign ourselves with who we are and our sexual potency. She was also incredibly intelligent and incredibly perceptive, and found her way through life. She attained her goals, she found her power, and she can speak to that as well and help you to realign yourself with your sensuality, your sexuality, and your personal power. And I think that can be really important in modern society, in modern times, even now. And again, we have the beautiful crescent. So again, Morgause would be wearing her crescent. I reckon Morgause would probably be wearing it right down her I've completely forgotten the proper term. It's oh my god, between her breasts, basically. My brain is not with it, and it's just gone. The French word, which is somebody pop it down below because I've forgotten. Anyway, along her neckline, emphasizing her sensuality is, I believe, where Morgause would wear it. And it would be there to flash and cause illusion a little bit, and to intoxicate the mind a little bit. Morgause is champion at intoxication, and in some of the mythos, in some of the stories that surround her, this takes on a artistry. So within her spell work, she's very good at potions and intoxications of that nature. So to heighten the senses and to stimulate one's senses and perceptions is something that one can call upon Morgause to do. Again, we went with the deep fuchsia raspberry pink sexy ribbon, because I think, again, I can see her wearing it. I can see her being a little bit shocking in this pink, the shocking priestess maybe, and speaking to you of your femininity, of your power, of your sensuality. And I think she would wear this deep, stereotypically sexy pink colour in perhaps a way that was a little bit unorthodox, and perhaps, you know, in a land full of priestesses, she'd be wearing trousers, basically. If that makes sense. I know what I mean, so hopefully that does too. And I hope you can see in here, again, we have the spell scroll. There are crystals in all of these, but the crystals, you can never see them. They're always hiding. And there's a potent, powerful blend in there for the aforementioned energies. Okay, so last but not least, certainly not, is Nimue. Oh, Nimue. They all have a very special place in my heart, but Nimue is probably where I am right now. Okay. Beautiful. Right, so Nimue. Some argue she's the Lady of the Lake, interchangeably. In some other mythos she's not. She's more related to Merlin and has a relationship with Merlin, and these myths kind of swirl around, and is she the same lady? Is it the Lady in the Lake? I tend to allow her to exist within both. I think it's perfectly natural for a sorceress to be able to shift between different roles and encompass both. I think Nimue, more than any of the other sorceresses, is involved with rebirth. I think you could possibly make arguments for Morgause being birth and life, Morgana Le Fay being death, and Nimue being rebirth. And the sword through the water is a very strong rebirth imagery in my mind, particularly when you consider that Celts would throw swords into water to give them to the gods, give them in offering. So for one to come back is a little bit like the sword being reborn and taking on a power, a godly power, such as in the Excalibur myth, if people are confused about what I mean. So Nimue is concerned with water and rebirth, but mirrors reflections as well. Emotions, of course, because emotions being in the realm of the water and water being the connective force to the gods. Mirror and reflections also take on elements of water, because water is a natural mirror, a natural reflection. It reflects our emotive selves, and it challenges us to look inside and look beyond and to question, seek those answers. Quite frequently Nimue is associated with providing the key to the answer. Sometimes she's considered to be a little bit deceptive as well, that she betrays Merlin is in some of the mythos. Again, it to my mind seeks to, we need to look beyond the stereotypes that turn up about sorceresses. Nimue is about conquering unsurmountable odds. She provides the answer, she provides Excalibur, she provides the means to which victory is assured. And I think out of the three of them, she's perhaps the quietest of the energies. She's the one that watches, and if her help is sought, she will quite frequently willingly help. And she's a little bit more direct, a little bit more placing what you need in your hands and then you can go do it, and rather than being directly involved perhaps. Her involvement seems direct, but it's actually a little bit more abstract than the magic perhaps of the other two. The other two are very, very invested in the action and being involved in the moment, whereas Nimue seems content to be the rebirth element, to place the energy in your hands and allow you to undergo the learning process, and then once you have achieved the victory, you have achieved the goal, then rebirth takes place again, very much like Excalibur goes back to her, goes back to the water and back to her arms, and she takes it back into the fold. So again we have the crescent moon. I think she would wear a circlet personally. Again, the very, very pale lavendery, almost blue shimmer ribbon is very reminiscent of what I imagine her wearing. If you imagine her coming out of the water perhaps, or holding Excalibur, or just learning from Merlin, if you prefer that side of mythos. I can imagine her wearing this lilac, this purple, this shade which is a little bit closer to the element of water and a little bit more ethereal perhaps. And then on the inside there is a spell scroll in here. The spell scroll is hiding, I believe. Oh, there you go, there's a spell scroll. And then this orb is so beautiful. I love them all, I really do, but this one, goodness, this is speaking to where I'm at right now, I think. Ready for some rebirthing energies, but it's so lovely. Right, I don't have three little stands, so they're not all going to stand up next to each other. They don't stand up anyway. It's like, go away, Joe, because you meant to hang them, really. You can stand them up like this, but all right, fine. Ta-da! Aha! Right, so the 3 Sorceresses of Avalon spell orbs will be available on store soon. I'm going to put them all up together, like I said, and then it's just up to you guys out there in the world, the big wide world, who decide which, if any, you would like to give a home. I personally love the Sorceresses of Avalon. I'm going to keep engaging with these 3 energies because I find them fascinating. I think they're a really interesting archetypes to work with. I think they're fascinating in terms of magic and creativity. And I'm definitely going to carry on working with them. So there will be more bits and pieces around this, absolutely. But for now, that's it, and many blessings.